You ever have a moment where the world doesn't end, but it sure feels like it should? That was me, sitting at the edge of the bed, staring at the woman I'd promised my forever to. The words had just left her mouth, clear as day, no tremble, no hesitation. I feel nothing for you. That was it. No build-up, no drama. Just fact. The kind of sentence that doesn't shout. It just hangs there, heavy, final, like the last click of a door locking behind you. Her name was Lauren. We'd been together almost 6 years, married for 3. The kind of relationship where things looked fine from the outside. Friends called us stable. Her parents liked me. My mom called her sweet. And in a way, she was. Sweet like a candle that's lost its flame. Still looks nice on the shelf, but it doesn't light the room anymore. The slow fade started sometime after year 2 of the marriage. At first, it was subtle. Fewer texts during the day. Less reaching for my hand during drives. More of those, I'm just tired nights. You tell yourself it's normal. That love changes form. That comfort replaces the fire. But then comfort turns to silence. And silence, well, it says a lot without saying anything. Still, I tried. God, I tried. Date nights. Little notes on the fridge. Surprising her with her favorite Thai takeout, just because it was Tuesday. I kept thinking maybe if I just reminded her of who we were, she'd come back to it. Come back to us. But love doesn't work that way. At least, not one-sided love. The night she said those words, we were supposed to go to a friend's engagement party. I'd just finished ironing my shirt. The kind she said made me look grown up, when she came into the room wearing this distant look, like she was halfway through a thought she'd been having all day. I'm not going, she said, arms crossed. I paused, not really sure if she meant tonight or ever again. What's going on? I asked. You okay? That's when she sat down beside me, smoothed her skirt, and delivered the line that split our story in two. I feel nothing for you. Just like that. I wish I could tell you I said something profound, or that I stood up and walked away with dignity. But all I managed was a quiet, what? She didn't repeat herself. Just looked at me with that strange softness you use when you're putting down an old dog. Gentle. Detached. Final. I don't hate you, she added, as if that was supposed to make it better. You're a good man. You always have been. I just don't feel it anymore. No tears. No shouting. Not even guilt. Just that cold kind of honesty that leaves bruises where there shouldn't be any. I think I sat there for a full minute, maybe more. I didn't ask if there was someone else. I didn't beg. I just nodded, stood up, and walked to the window. My hands were shaking, but I didn't want her to see. You always think, in those moments, that you'll do something big. That you'll fight, yell, demand answers. But when someone tells you they don't love you anymore, it's like trying to argue with gravity. There's nothing to say. That night, I slept on the couch. Not because she asked me to, but because I couldn't lie next to someone who'd already emotionally packed her bags. The next few weeks were quiet. We still lived in the same apartment. Went through the same routines. But something had shifted. She'd stay late at work. I stopped waiting up. We shared the same space, but it was like living with a polite stranger. She offered me coffee one morning, and it hit me. She was being kind the way you're kind to a neighbor. Thoughtful, distant, transactional. And me? I started fading too. Not because I stopped loving her, but because I was learning what it felt like to love someone who no longer made space for you in their heart. One morning, I watched her walk to her car from the balcony, and I realized I didn't miss her. I missed who we used to be. There's a difference. The turning point came when I ran into an old friend from college, Eva. We bumped into each other at a bookstore. She was holding a stack of psychology books. Said she was working on her dissertation. Eva was someone I'd had a passing crush on back in school. Nothing ever happened. Wrong timing, different paths. But there was always this quiet connection, like two people who would have made sense in another life. We ended up grabbing coffee. Talked for 2 hours that felt like 10 minutes. Laughed more than I had in months. It wasn't romantic, not yet. But it reminded me what it felt like to be seen. When I got home that night, Lauren asked where I'd been. Caught up with someone from college, I said. She didn't ask who. Didn't press. Just nodded and went back to folding laundry. Like I'd told her I'd stopped by the gas station. And that's when I realized she really didn't care. There's this part in every dying relationship where one person finally stops fighting. Not out of anger, but out of acceptance. I'd reached that point. A week later, I told her I was moving out. She didn't fight me on it. Just nodded again and said, I figured. No tears. No scene. That was the end. I moved into a small one-bedroom apartment across town. Nothing fancy, just clean and quiet. For the first few weeks, I kept expecting the grief to hit me like a wave. But it never came. What came instead was peace. I slept better. I ate better. I went for walks without needing a reason. I started journaling again, something I hadn't done in years. Turns out, silence can be healing when it's not laced with disappointment. Eva and I kept in touch. No pressure, just two people rebuilding something small and real. And then one day, maybe 3 months after I'd left, I saw Lauren again. I was at a local farmer's market with Eva. It was one of those sunny afternoons that made everything look like a postcard. Eva was trying to decide between two types of honey when I felt someone watching me. I turned, and there she was. Lauren. She looked the same, but different. A little thinner maybe. More tired. Her eyes scanned from me to Eva, then back to me. She didn't wave. Just stood there, frozen for a second too long before walking the other way. And I'll be honest with you. I expected to feel something. Anger. Sadness. Vindication. But what I felt was nothing. Not the kind of nothing she had once declared, but the kind of nothing that comes after closure. Like the quiet after a storm. Eva looked up, asked if I was okay. I just smiled and nodded. Yeah, I said. Let's go. That night, I got a text. Unknown number. It just said, I saw you today. You looked happy. I don't know why that hurts, but it does. I stared at the screen for a long time. Thought about replying. Thought about deleting it. In the end, I did neither. I just turned off my phone and went asleep. Because that chapter was closed. And I was done rereading pages that never really saw me. That message lingered in my head longer than I wanted to admit. I saw you today. You looked happy. I don't know why that hurts, but it does. It wasn't signed, but it didn't have to be. I knew who it was from. You don't forget the tone of someone who once looked you in the eye and told you they felt nothing, especially when they suddenly feel something again. But I didn't reply, not out of spite. Honestly, I didn't feel angry anymore. I was just done. I'd given her everything I had when it mattered, and she left the gift unopened on the floor. You learn real quick in life, people don't miss you. They miss the version of themselves they were when they had you. And sometimes, they only start to miss you when they see you smiling without them. Eva and I started seeing more of each other. It started simple, an invite to a pop-up art exhibit, then a late dinner at this quiet little Italian place she'd found through some obscure blog. She had a way of making ordinary things feel special. Like choosing fruit at the market became some kind of adventure. She didn't try too hard. Didn't expect me to be someone I wasn't. And I never felt like I had to convince her I was worth her time. One evening, maybe 6 months after my split from Lauren, Eva and I went to a jazz night downtown. I hadn't been in a place like that in ages. Candles on the tables, warm lighting, that low hum of conversation under the music. I looked across the table at her, head tilted slightly as she listened to the saxophone player, and I felt something in my chest. Not fireworks. Not some over-the-top epiphany. Just peace. The kind that sneaks up on you and wraps around you gently. After the show, we walked by the water. The city lights reflected on the surface like soft sparks. And I remember thinking, this is the kind of night I used to imagine sharing with someone. And now here I was. Eva stopped walking and said, "You're quieter tonight." I laughed under my breath. Just thinking. Good thoughts. Yeah, I said. For once they are. I didn't expect to hear from Lauren again. But a few weeks later, I did. This time, it was a phone call. I was walking home from a bookstore when it rang. The number wasn't saved, but something told me to pick up. Hello. Silence at first. Then a soft voice. Hey, it's me. I paused on the sidewalk. Watched a couple walk by, holding hands. Funny how certain scenes hit different when you're hearing from your past. What do you need, Lauren? I don't even know why I called. I guess I saw something online. A photo. Of you and someone else. She didn't say Eva's name, but I knew what picture she meant. Someone had snapped a candid at that jazz bar and tagged us. We were laughing, really laughing. I didn't mean to find it, she went on. But once I saw it, I couldn't stop looking at it. I didn't say anything. Let the silence do the heavy lifting. I was wrong, she finally whispered. Back then, I thought I was being honest when I said I didn't feel anything. But I think I was numb. I was pushing you away so I didn't have to deal with how far I drifted. And now, she trailed off, voice cracking. I waited, staring out at a mural across the street, two hands holding each other in the rain. I miss you, she said. I didn't realize what I had. I didn't realize how it felt to feel safe with someone. To be loved without question. I closed my eyes for a second, breathed in through my nose. I hear you, I said softly. But I'm not the same man you walked away from. I know, and that's what hurts the most. For the first time, there was a tremble in her voice. Not pity, not guilt, just honest regret. I'm happy for you, she said eventually. I hope she sees you the way I couldn't. She does, I replied. Not with malice. Just the truth. There was a pause. A long one. Goodbye, then, she whispered. And just like that, the call ended. I didn't feel triumphant. This wasn't some cinematic moment where I pumped my fist in the air or shouted, "Ha!" into the wind. I just kept walking. The air was cool, crisp. Somewhere behind me, a saxophone played faintly from a second-story window. Regret is a strange thing. It doesn't always come with consequences, but it always comes with weight. And when someone regrets losing you, they don't always want you back. They want who they were when they still had you. But I'd changed. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't broken. I was rebuilding, brick by brick, day by day. And I'd found someone who didn't just want to stand on the porch of my life, but walk through the door and stay. A few months later, Eva and I moved in together. We didn't rush it. Just felt natural, like the next paragraph in a story that was writing itself. We had our quiet mornings, shared playlists, random dancing in the kitchen while pancakes burned. And sometimes, when we'd lie in bed with the window cracked open and the world humming outside, I'd think about how far I'd come from that night on the edge of the bed, the night I heard, "I feel nothing for you." Now, I feel everything. And the beauty of it? It's finally with someone who feels it too.